I'm watching Resident Evil with her and my other son. But I'm watching it as if I'm Gordon Ramsay, and I'm yelling about how stupid everybody is,
Stupid.
and it's a blast.
Come
I'm having a
on,
great
man.
time yelling at characters.
Hey, Indigo made the beat.
All right, greetings everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Heroes Peak podcast. I am your host Chris, and I'm here with a different crew than usual. And back on the pod, we have Queen Bee here. Brooksy, how you doing?
Doing amazing. Happy to be here, happy to be hanging out with some of my favorite podcast people.
Some. There's four people. We only get some.
Who's the other crew? That's not us.
Uh-oh.
I don't know. None. I mean, I listened to a podcast, shout out to Normal Gossip, and I feel like I'm a part of it, but I'm not. So that's probably the distinction.
That probably means it's a good
nice
podcast.
Cleanup.
Thank you.
Nice cleanup.
All right. And of course, we have the Iron Man here. We have James, always here.
Iron Man, Black Panther. By the way, I'm the technical guru for this evening and producer. So if something goes wrong, the audio doesn't sound right, the visuals don't sound right, it's my fault. So I apologize in advance.
It's all right. It's all right. All right. So today we're just gonna have a little recommendation episode. Everybody's been super busy. We've all been trying to fill in gaps of what we're watching, where we're watching it, blah blah blah. Plus, we've been doing series after series after series. I mean, Stranger Things and Umbrella Academy and just like a dozen brand new, hot, very good television series, but it's really kind of hard in a week to just get everybody caught up. So, the three of us today, we're going to talk about what we're watching, all the some of the different stuffs we're watching individually, because we all do have different tastes, and we're going to recommend some recommendations there, and something we're excited to watch that we haven't had a chance to watch because of all the cool stuff we're otherwise watching. So we're going to go around the horn here, and everybody's going to get a chance to do at least two things that we're watching that we're enjoying, and maybe everybody should, you know, hit us up on Twitter or Facebook and tell us what you think of our recommendations.
Nah.
I'm going to start with
that.
you, Brooks.
We should just text James. Text James. That's
Fuck
what we
social
should do.
media.
No, please, no. I don't have time anymore to read my texts. I'm like 3 days late reading texts.
That's because you're in 85 different group chats.
And by the way, shout out to Tony, Chris. There's a handful of folks that are actually now starting to leave comments on some of our reviews.
Thank
so
you guys.
thank you. Uptown, you too. Appreciate
Shout out to
that.
the Uptown.
Yeah, let's get some more. Angel, you've been quiet for a while. I haven't seen any comments from you.
All right,
Brooks.
So we're gonna let Brooks go first. What is your first recommendation? What are you watching right now that other people should watch?
Okay, so this was actually a recommendation from James, who has not watched it. But best recommendation. It is The Supreme Team on Showtime. This was excellent. Produced and directed by Nas, and some other guy that we don't care about. I'm just going to read you the little bio. Supreme Team is a 3-part limited docuseries that takes an in-depth look at the notorious Queens, New York gang and tells the real story from the mouths of its 2 leaders and family members, Kenneth Supreme McGriff and Gerald Prince Miller. This is very well directed by Nas. He has really found his lane in this. And, he's from Queens, obviously. And it takes, a look at this very notorious New York gang. I'm not from New York. I lived in New York for a long time, but everybody in New York knows the Supreme Team. Everybody talks about the Supreme Team. They're a big deal. Nas also had Ja Rule and Irv Gotti in this docuseries. He also talked about 50 Cent, although 50 was not actually in the docuseries, and just sort of all of their connections in the real world to the Supreme Team. And this was interesting from start to finish for a wide variety of reasons. One is like Kenneth Supreme McGriff and Gerald Prince Miller, they're still in prison to this day. So they interviewed them from prison, which I thought was super interesting. And just get their take now on kind of how everything, all the stuff that played out in the 90s and early 2000s. They get that kind of retrospect opinions and thoughts from, these notorious gang leaders. And semi-spoil alert, it explains in detail the real street beef between Ja Rule and 50 Cent. And that it wasn't just this hip hop radio beef, that they had real street beef, which was the part that I actually didn't know. And I was I feel like I should have known this. I feel like this is probably common knowledge, in the streets of Queens, even to this day. But it explains that they had real street beef, and it wasn't 50 Cent just sort of came after Ja Rule. It was there was a real reason for it. And that part was super, super interesting to me, because I'm I've seen so many documentaries about, whatever, Ja Rule, 50 Cent, rap in general, Queens rap, anything, and have never put these connections together. So shout out to Nas for bringing that to light, and just super interesting documentary docuseries, I should say, that I highly recommend.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good call. I love that it was a suggestion by someone who'd never watched
I
it.
know.
I think that's what I take.
Oh, come on, guys.
All right, James. What is your first suggestion for what?
My suggestion that I did watch actually was suggested to be. I forgot who suggested to me to watch. That's a subscriber, actually. It's Rise. It is on Disney Plus, and it's basically the story of Giannis Antetokounmpo. His harrowing life story from his parents immigrating from Lagos, Nigeria, all the way through draft night in the NBA in 2015. Interesting thing which I didn't realize until right before we went on air is that he actually executive produced the show as well. Shout out to Giannis. And basically, the story chronicles his family as a unit, his mother and father, and the three brothers that lived with him in Greece, as well as the brother, a long forgotten brother that actually did not make the trip when his parents decided to flee Nigeria for hopes of a better life. They went from Istanbul, Turkey, escaped immigration there, police, and then finally landed in Greece, and had Thanasis, his the second son in that family, and then Giannis, and then Kostas being the younger brother. True story. All three brothers are playing in NBA. Obviously, Giannis is the big star. He's able to, to get his brothers in position to be able to play for the Lakers and Knicks, and then eventually now they're all in the Milwaukee Bucks. What I really liked about this show, again, as a Disney Plus show, is it wasn't afraid to show some of the darker elements of African immigration in Europe, which I wasn't aware of myself until our fellow podcaster Keith and I did a European trip back in 2006. And we went to Greece, and we were in Athens and then Mykonos, Eos, Santorini. And we would see, even at the touristy areas, that a lot of the African merchants and retailers, the positions that they were in, you'd be out on the beach by the water, and then you see someone swimming at you with a plastic bag selling CDs for $1, $2, and then seeing what they had to do going back to a little hut where they can make their cash, count their cash and stuff like that. And there's some scenes in this movie where they showed you the boys and their parents and their mom with the youngest struggling to make ends meet. And then all of a sudden, Policia would come running through, with batons chasing them down. And they had to split and had like little routes and stuff like that. Uh, which I was surprised to see in a Disney Plus movie because not only they showed you the actual harsh nature of African immigrants in Europe trying to make a living, but also the xenophobia that existed, like the calling them monkeys and blackie and all that stuff. There are certain scenes that I felt like could bring you to tears when you real because now you know the guy's a superstar multimillionaire. But there's a scene when he's trying to make it on a local Greek basketball team. Him and his brother, who at the time was a better basketball player, they're exchanging sneakers at halftime so that one can play because their parents didn't have enough money to buy them actual basketball sneakers. And then fast forward 30 minutes later, Nike's at a table with them asking him, "Why should we sign you?" And he talks about that story to Nike because I can't believe now I'm being offered a deal with the shoes that I like. It's crazy. And they did and by the way, written by a uh, Nigerian, not Nigerian American, written by, directed by people of Nigerian descent. There's obviously some other executive producers who are American and Greek. It's a collaboration. The show's a collaboration between American and Greek film production companies. So, without getting too long winded on it, I thought it was a great show, great movie. It's a little bit shy of 2 hours, a little bit less than 2 hours, and you don't realize that until like when you get to the point where okay, I know what's about to happen now. He's about to get drafted. Milwaukee's gonna get him. Like when you see the real life stuff about to happen, and you realize, oh, you're nearing the end of the movie, and obviously he gets drafted. He becomes a member of the Bucks. It's a great recommendation, especially basketball fans and people who are just human fans of seeing like the human struggle come to fruition with reward, hard work and reward. And it couldn't be like a nicer guy. Like if you don't know his backstory, you just know him from what you see in the NBA and how he is with the dad jokes and all that stuff. When he won the championship, the freaking Chick-fil-A, all that stuff. Once you watch this movie, you're gonna love him even more. I guarantee that.
Very, very cool. Like we've seen the ads for that quite often, and just haven't had time to pick it up. All right, I'm gonna go. My recommendation is actually a movie. I watched. I was actually surprised. I enjoy watching a bad Gerard Butler movie. Like I've seen like all of Gerard Butler's movies. Seriously, I think I've seen everyone. And so he popped up on my screen on Peacock, the Peacock streaming service, and a movie called Cop Shop. So it's a 2021 movie, um, starring Gerard Butler, and Frank Grillo and Alexis Louder are the three main characters. And I actually texted on our chat when I started watching this. I said, "This is the most interesting Frank Grillo has ever been in a movie." Like normally Frank Grillo is the same exact character. He's a big tough guy. He's classic arm they put him in as a military vet or assassin killer or whatever they want to put him in as. In this he plays a guy on the run, and I kept waiting for him to get in that big tough guy punch him up where he shows he's Frank Grillo, and it never really happens. He continues to play this scared. You don't know the cool thing about this movie. You're not sure who to root for. So you have Frank Grillo on the run, who's been shot, who gets arrested or gets himself arrested in this small town on purpose, puts himself in jail, and then you have Gerard Butler following him, trying to get to him, and he gets himself arrested. Blah blah blah. And then lots of shit goes down. I don't want to say too much. Lots of shit goes down. Other killers are, assassins or whatever. People are paid off. Some cops are good. Some cops are bad. You don't know which is which. Maybe if you're really astute, you probably can figure out that the main cop probably is pretty good. But Alexis Louder plays a cop, and she's really good in this. So it was an interesting surprise for me. It's not like an A+ by any means, but it's a cool little thriller action movie out there on Peacock. Go take a look. Like I said, I've never seen Frank Grillo not be every like what he is in every other movie I've seen him in. So it was
I
interesting.
mean, if you know the guy, if you follow the guy in real life, he's like an MMA. He's done boxing his whole life before he got into acting. So it's not that far from who he is as a person, minus the military
I
background.
feel like you sounded like a stalker
it's like
for a second. If you follow him in real life.
if you follow me.
No, he's from the city.
So you just follow him
know.
around?
But like,
sorry, go on.
no, it's cool to see an actor who maybe gets typecast quite a bit with the ability to break out into a slightly different role. It's not like completely out of his wheelhouse or whatever, but I thought it was more colorful, more interesting ability for him a character for him to take on, and it was cool. I think that was probably what interested me the most about the movie.
Not Gerard Butler.
Cop Shop over on Peacock.
Got it.
Gerard Butler plays almost
No, not that
Gerard
guy.
Butler almost plays second fiddle to Frank Grillo in this, and I like Gerard Butler's character, but he's very assassin guy.
Yeah.
He's reasonable assassin guy. Like he'll talk to you, he'll reason with you.
I love a good reasonable assassin.
I don't know. I feel like Gerard.
A reasonable assassin's always fun.
Yeah.
I think Gerard Butler has hit his peak.
I feel like he hit his peak.
I think
in
for
like
a while, No.
Damn.
Early 2000s when he was doing stuff.
Yeah.
Like my daughter would watch. What the hell was that movie? There was like a couple of movies he was in where he's like the dad of a young girl on an island with a dead mom. It's very Disney. My daughter loved those movies. I can't remember the name of them off the top of my head. But I think for a while everybody thought like, oh, this guy'd be like a pretty solid Indiana Jones, and he turned more into like a B-side of Harrison Ford with the what's it? The one where he's protecting the president, and the president, not all the presidents.
London Has Fallen or Olympus Has
Both of
Fallen.
those. I think both of those are two separate movies in the same franchise.
Correct.
Actually, I feel like at 300 is when he hit his peak.
Oh yeah, that's definitely.
That was 2007, 2008. Yeah,
Okay.
that was his peak. Then he started doing Law Abiding Citizen.
Hey,
and
Law Abiding Citizen was not that bad.
Yeah. I mean,
Law Abiding Citizen wasn't bad.
Yeah,
like I said, I like his movies. They're kind of cheaper action-y movies, and they're fine. It's solid. So I enjoy watching them. All right, let's do number two. Number two, do.
Okay.
Brooks, what's your second
one?
one?
My number 2 is The Chi, season 5.
The Chi.
The Chi.
Oh, The Chi. Yeah.
It is about Chicago, obviously.
Showtime?
It is on
Showtime. Hold on, what networks?
Yes. So I'll give you like the synopsis on the website. Emmett and Tiff forge a new path in their relationship as Tiff grows closer to Rob. Meanwhile, Kevin finds love where he least expects it as Jake and Gemma navigate life as a couple. With his boys and relationships, Papa finds himself a bit on the outside looking in, but still knows how to get himself in trouble. Keisha cares for baby Ronnie as Nina and Dre work together to support Lene. Jada assesses her life post-cancer, and Trig considers a political run, even as Duda plots a comeback. So that probably means nothing to you guys if you don't watch The Chi. Chris is like, oh, what just happened?
It was like you might have been speaking Greek as far as I know. I don't know.
I know, but it's season 5, so it's hard to like catch you up from season 1. You know, there's a lot that's happened in between, but I still love the show. I'm still super into it. Thankful that Lala has not made an appearance in this season because she is a horrible actor. But she was getting better, so there's that. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's really interesting. I love it. You know, it's just about like families growing up in the South Side of Chicago. Kind of their relationships, how they interact. There's teenagers, there's adults, there's everyone in between. And I think it's also created by Lena Waithe, so she'll make like a guest appearance from time to time. But I think it's like really well done. And if you are interested anything about Chicago, you don't have to be interested in Chicago. It's just like a nice like family rom-com, really, with a lot of drama because it's on the south side of Chicago. So that's my second recommendation. You should watch it from the first season is wildly different than the fifth season. Like they go through a lot of changes. Mostly the first season, I forget what his name is, but the character, like the main character from the first season, there was a lot of sexual assault accusations, with
Whoa.
him in other characters, so they had to fire him. Other characters quit, and I was like,
the actor.
yeah, the actual
the actor
like,
had
not
that.
like
Oh,
in
Jesus.
the show, but like that behind the scenes, the actor, yeah. And then I thought I was like, oh, this show is not gonna like come back, but it did, and it's season 5, and that's why it's like so different. But great watch, highly recommend, family show. Yeah, that's my number 2.
All right, nice. All right, number 2. All right, James. I know we went back and forth. We were watching a few of the same things. I'm gonna let you go for your number 2.
Yeah, so I switched up my number 2. Out of my 2 guaranteed and 3 possible. Resident Evil show on Netflix.
Do it. No,
I
do
know.
it.
Right now, I just looked at Rotten Tomatoes. It's doing 52% on a tomato meter.
Now,
and
I've
26%
only
audience
watched
score.
2 episodes here, so it could seriously fall off
Well,
a cliff. I don't know.
So it's the reverse. Usually, it's the first 2 episodes that are like lampooned by everybody. So if you like the first 2, you're gonna like the rest of the show.
Well,
if you don't like the first 2, you might be like, "Oh, what the hell?"
And this is where I just want to bring this up before you finish talking about it, and that's about experience. So there's a thing when you go and you watch a certain type of media, and who you're with and how you're watching it and how you're enjoying it can really change and shape what you think of something. So in this specific instance, I'm not a horror fan. And I've said this before, I don't watch horror movies and horror television shows on average. But my daughter, now 16, is really into horror. So if I want to watch something with her, I have to basically succumb to watch it. Like we watch Stranger Things. She loves Stranger Things. And Stranger Things going more in the horror element, really, she loved it. So now I am watching this. I'm watching Resident Evil with her and my other son. But I'm watching it as if I'm Gordon Ramsay and I'm yelling about how stupid everybody is. And it's a blast. I'm having a great time yelling at characters. So go ahead, Gene, talk more about it. But that's my experience, and I'm loving and enjoying every minute of it.
Yeah, the show, it's interesting you say that. I'll get to that in a second. The show is on Netflix. It's 8 episodes. They're, for the most part, I think, other than episode 1 and the finale, they're a little bit shorter than an hour. They're probably like 50 minutes, 55 minutes. And it's based on the obviously Resident Evil video game, which there's been many adaptations throughout the years since the first movies with Mila Jovovich, and then the other ones that came after that were like straight to on demand. I played the video game when it first came out. I never played any of the sequel games. So from what I'm hearing on the internet, that this adaptation on Netflix is a little bit closer to the game, but it takes a lot of liberties with the characters. There's some gender swaps, there's some race swaps, which I'll get into in a second. And it's basically, it is a zombie movie, apocalypse. But this adaptation, what they did is they split it to 2 different timelines. They're giving you the timeline right when the apocalypse is about to start. Like, for example, let's say it's The Walking Dead, for those who watch the show. There was The Walking Dead, and then later on became Fear the Walking Dead, which was supposed to start right at the moment of the apocalypse and then how they survived the first couple of months. Whereas The Walking Dead took you through, much later than that, months, years, and so forth. So the Resident Evil show gives you 2 parallel stories, and it really centered around these two teenage girls and their father, who is a very well known character in the video game, also works for the same company Umbrella that's creating the zombie vaccine. And without giving you too much spoilers, that storyline then gets mirrored in the future line with other characters, and it kind of takes you through um, how one storyline impacts the other, and it goes back and forth. Now, honestly, these first two episodes, maybe even the first half of episode 3, are lackluster, with the exception of Lance Reddick,
Yeah.
who some of you may know as the African American actor from the John Wick movies.
Mhm.
He is the concierge
Yeah, that's
at the
that's
at
where
the
I know him
hotel.
from.
Correct, and he did a lot of movies prior to that. He was in several other stuff, but that's what he's most well known now, Mr. Weak.
His
Whatever. He by far, and it gets his character gets even better without spoiling it, all the way through the show. I really advise for those of you who want to give this show a shot, just stick with it past the first two episodes. You'll be rewarded with the follow up episodes with how they decide to do. They mix a good mixture of comedy and, like Chris was saying, there are some "what the fuck are you doing" type of like stuff. Like, why do people still do these things? Like, you walk into a building, no one is a zombie in there. Like, I'll be fine. No, you're not fine. There's a lot of moments like that makes you laugh, that make you like want to slap yourself in the
right.
head.
Yeah.
There's some nice little twists that they revealed in the last 2 or 3 episodes that actually make you think a little bit more about the way the world is going. Hate to say it, with the pandemics, monkeypox, and all this stuff. You start to think about that kind of shit
Right.
when you're sitting there watching the show. Like, interesting here. So that's definitely the show that I'm watching. That actually finished on Netflix, Resident Evil. I highly recommend it, with the caveat that you just gotta grind past the first two
Or
episodes.
find
You'll
someone to
enjoy
watch
it.
it with and just lampoon the hell out of it. Mystery Science Theater 3000
Yeah,
it.
pour yourself a nice adult beverage or legalized cannabis and enjoy it.
Dude, yeah. Yeah, maybe I can ingest some more horror elements if I'm allowed to just be loud.
Once you get to episode 3, halfway through and all the way through, you'll be like, "Yeah, I can see what James is
Okay,
talking
okay.
about."
I can't wait. After she jumped off that building, I was like, "Wait, you didn't have a plan? Like what the fuck is wrong with you?"
It gets
All right.
worse, dude. Like, to the point where you look at his character, like you must have like the Batman. What's that? Like the Batman shield in the story that he's Batman. He's always gonna figure out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
All right. I think Brooksy's chair is
It's my chair.
speaking to us.
I'm like,
That is the chair, I promise.
It's not Taco Tuesday. It's okay.
It
All
could
right.
be Taco Tuesday.
So, yeah, all right. So my recommendation is actually quite a surprise to me, and that's going to be Star Trek: Strange New Worlds.
I thought it was called Brave New
So
World.
I thought it was Brave New Worlds too, until I tried to find it on IMDb and it wouldn't find it. So it's Strange New Worlds. Now this I picked up because we were going to talk about Star Trek. So I watched Picard. I watched the second season of Picard. We never got to talk about it. Second season of Picard isn't as good as the first, guys. By the way, just isn't. Too bad. Anyway, and so I watched one episode of this, and I was like, oh, you know what? I hear what people are saying. They like the new captain. He's actually really charismatic, and the rest of the cast is solid. And this happens. This is at the time of Kirk's father, right? So this is the captain to Kirk's dad, but it's not like you have to understand Star Trek lore, which I don't. I don't follow it. I'm not a Star Trek nerd. I'm a Star Wars
Trekkie.
nerd, by
We're
the way.
called Trekkies.
Yeah. So I don't. Right. I don't know any of it. I don't understand any of it. I don't follow any of it, and I don't have to, which is cool. So I wasn't planning on watching more of this, except my mother-in-law actually is a Star Trek fan. So I don't don't tell Paramount Plus, but I signed her up under my Paramount Plus account because I was like, am I keeping this account? I signed her up, and I'm like, oh, that's right, you
Christopher
love Star
Pike. That's
Trek.
who you
Look
meant
at
to
all
say,
this
by the
fucking
way.
Star Trek I got.
Christopher Pike.
Yes. So and so we plunked it on, and we watched through like 6 episodes, one after the other, and I was like, this is good. This is a good Star Trek. Like I have not watched this real Star Trek. I did watch Picard, but before that, it wasn't the Chris Pine stuff, and then before that,
Star
was
Trek
the
Next
'90s
Generation.
series. Yeah, Next Generation. Like I did
So
not
you
watch
miss
anything
Deep
after
Space
that,
Nine. You miss
and it's I
Voyager.
was
You miss.
I've watched like I've hit like an episode of those like here or
Then
there,
the
like
bad
when
one
it
with
was just
Scott
TV and
Bakula.
not
Oh,
streaming.
that's what it started going downhill after that.
Isn't that
No,
isn't that
that's recent.
Discovery?
Discovery is a recent one. There was another one that happened. Yeah.
Okay. 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 There's too many. See, they make all these ones and they're all weird, but this just kind of hit all the right spots. It felt of politically in the right area where Star Trek wants to hit, um, and also emotionally, characters were good. It didn't feel like it was stuck in the '90s yet. I don't know. Star Trek is this weird cousin to Star Wars that I'm not used to watching. So I was really not expecting to sit and enjoy watching it. But it should be more political
Yeah.
with
That
when
was
it's
Gene
what it
Roddenberry's
talks about
vision.
because that's what Star Trek
Exactly
is.
that.
Right. And and it felt like it hit all of those notes right for a series. And it was still just like a fun adventure serial, but also hit all the proper notes for a series for not a Star Trek like lover. So if that means anything to you, if you're just a action, Star Wars fantasy movie guy, you can still watch this show. It's a really good series. Good characters all around, real interesting points, and they're right. That captain, man, that guy's
Let
got
me
charisma.
let me peel the
Like,
curtain a little bit as a Trekkie here. So I haven't watched it. I know Mike is in love with it, and you've actually started watching it. So Captain Pike was the original cast for the captain of the Enterprise back when the original OG series started in 1966, right? For whatever reason, I can't remember the exact reason. I'm not a full
hmm
Trekkie. I am a Trekkie, but not level 10. He was recast as William Shatner. So
right.
they've gone back in certain seasons after they retcon him as being like the original captain, and then he was like debilitatory and handicapped and whatnot. He had like issues. So this series you're watching is showing you they're also retconning it, what happened as the original Enterprise ship with Spock was on before Kirk became. Yes,
That is a
this is a
weird thing
prequel,
because it is Spock and
Uhura,
and
Uhura.
Uhura, Ahura, Ahura, and a lot of other characters that are not from the original Star Trek, um, but it's like because again you're placing yourself in a timeline that you're not familiar with. So like a Marvel, you can be like, it happens before Civil War, and I know exactly what that means and what that's supposed to entail. But in this, they're like, you see a familiar Spock, but he's our third Spock now, and you're trying to kind of, does he feel right as Spock, or does he just feel like another Vulcan dude? But that's the only weird part for me is I'm not seeing him
Mm-hmm.
as
Mm-hmm.
that character so much. But of course, I didn't really land.
Jonathan Quinto
Jonathan
was the
Quinto,
recent,
right? Was the Chris
yeah,
Pine?
the J.J. Abrams Star Trek franchise.
It's a weird character to hit
Come on, man. Leonard Nimoy will never
because
be
there's
topped.
very little. Right, there's very little mannerisms to match besides just being like very straight laced. But like the whole point of the Leonard Nimoy character is learning how to become human. But whenever they do this and they recast the character, he does that whole thing over again. Like it's the same character arc of learning to be more in touch with his half humanity and uh to feel about this captain and be more personable with the crew and not to say things that you know it's that's the only weird part. It's like I've seen this character kind of do this again.
That's the only weird part
So
about Star Trek.
Relax. Relax.
about this
Relax.
show, but yeah, no, it's a good show.
I just looked online. It's
Highly
greenlit for a
rated.
second season already. Holy shit.
And yeah, I can see why. Like, there's like I don't know if memeability. I haven't seen his Star Trek memeability outside of like Star Trek people, and this seems like it's reaching different
All right.
audiences,
Sounds
which
like
is
a
good.
weekend watch.
Good for Star Trek.
This one is Supreme Team. Weekend watch.
Definitely. Yeah, Anson Mount, by the way, who you probably recently
It's
saw
Black Bolt.
die a horrible death in a Marvel movie. Yeah. Man, that guy's got great hair. I am so jealous.
Good jawline too. Holy shit.
Oh my god. I'm like, that guy should be a superhero. Holy shit. Oh wait.
Wow.
He is.
Is this the like things that guys talk about? What a great
Yes.
jawline.
Seriously.
Yes.
Jawlines are amazing. Like, you're just like,
Fucking Ben
how does
Affleck.
that guy have that jawline?
Probably Botox and injectables.
Injectables? What are those?
No, I think that's natural.
Injectables. There's like all these things that you can do to get like specific jawlines. You know.
Yeah. I think
Holy
these
shit.
are
He's an adjunct
natural to
assistant
me.
professor at
Natural
Columbia
jawline.
University teaching audition technique for graduate actors. What the fuck?
He's a good actor, man. I mean, he lays, but he's not laying. This is different than like the Black Bolt role, which is a very pretty flat role. But he gets to be very charismatic and very friendly and very, I don't know,
Good for him.
Star
Yeah.
Fleet captain-y.
Good for him. Good for him. All right.
I think it's a thing you have to hit to be a good Starfleet captain. Like, all right. So next, why don't we do something you have not seen, but you are just excited to see it? So I'm guessing, James, you don't have one.
No,
of those.
not yet. I did. I forgot to write it down.
You forgot to write it down. All
That was
right.
the
No.
assignment,
I have one.
James.
Brooke. All right, Brooks, I'll let you go first. I'll go second. We'll give, just like at a restaurant when you
I
let
don't
the
like
person
that. I don't like
who
being
cannot
prepared
figure
to
out what they
that.
want to eat
Go last.
I'm always the person because I either have the same thing or I never know what I'm going to eat. All right, Brooks, go
All
ahead.
right. So mine is rap shit. I am very interested in watching this. I will give you the plot from Wikipedia. The show follows two estranged high school friends from Miami who come back together to form a rap group. That's all it gives. But it is created by Issa Rae, and so anything created by Issa Rae, I am into and I want to watch. And I'm hoping this fills the void that Insecure has left when that series ended. So yeah, that's my thing that I really want to watch. And I'm seeing the posters all around LA, so I feel like that makes it more intriguing for me and more like a must watch. And other people have also said it's very good.
It's very good. I'm not a fan of Insecure. I lost interest after I don't know, maybe 5 episodes of the first season. Serena was the one that was pressuring me to watch it, so we finally sat down together. And within 10 minutes of the first episode, I was hooked. It's got like that. I mean, it does have some parallels to Insecure. You could tell the way some of the jokes were done and like the observational humor about men and women relationships, especially being of African American culture. What this one is a little bit different than Insecure from what I could tell so far. It's only been 2 episodes that are out. is the social media. So what, without spoiling it, the main actor, resurrects an old rap group, and they're showing you through the lens of like Instagram and like social media, where she would go Insta live, and that'll be like an actual scene, and you see people interact and comment on, and then there'll be a moment where it's like a regular conversation, and then there'll be like, oh, or phone, and then you'll see the text box, like Miss Marvel a little bit, Chris. But imagine almost the entire episode like
Mm-hmm,
that.
mm-hmm.
But it's not overdone. It's done with the right taste and the right amount throughout the episode, which makes it more new age, more nuance
Interesting.
than a regular show. You're just watching people interacting
Right.
and talking shit.
Mm-hmm.
The rapping is hilarious. I mean, if you like hip hop culture and rapping, they show you different levels of what the current, Insta rappers are like. People who go on Instagram or whatever, TikTok, and they actually make parodies of some of that stuff, which is hilarious to me, which I couldn't stop laughing at. One particular episode, episode 2, where they do a whole little cut in a car. It was pretty hilarious. I do like the main actress. I don't. One thing I don't like, and this is something going back to Issa Rae and Secure, is there's no positive male role figures on the show so far.
There was positive male role
We could
figures
talk
in
offline about that. I
Insecure.
disagree. Um,
You didn't watch the whole
yeah, I saw
thing.
enough to be like, yep, not for me. Um,
You saw 5
yeah.
episodes out of like 5
But
seasons.
the
So
main actress is engaging enough and entertaining enough for me to keep watching despite all the other noise that I see on the show, and it's great noise too. I mean, it's hilarious. And Chris, even if you don't listen to the latest rap stuff, you'd still laugh and listen to some of the stuff and be like, you can watch it with your daughter. I'm sure she's more connected, especially with the social media stuff. I do recommend that, Brooks. Good call by you.
yeah, I'll watch it. James, I also just want to point out that you're not really connected to like the latest rap shit
I'm
either.
not. Serena
But
obviously told me that this weekend.
yeah. I mean, I'm not saying I am either. I'm just
Yeah, the
saying,
fact that
like,
New York City is now taken hostage by drill music. I was like, what the hell is that? I'm thinking Civil Air Patrol drill. No, totally different.
Dre-
Nope, it's a
I'm thinking
whole different
dress right
connotation of drill
dress.
music.
All right. All right. So my can't wait to watch it is a very different direction from Brooksy's as expected. And that is the third season of a series that I've watched the first 2 of previously, and that is Love, Death, and Robots, which is an animated series, but it's a collection of individual 9 stories. So it's not just one big thing. It's 9 individual stories, animation studios, whatever. They could all be completely different animation styles. In the first season, there's actually a live action um one live action episode which takes place in the refrigerator of an apartment, which is a great episode. I loved it. Um, some of the animation is really neat. Some is just mind-bogglingly great. They're all relatively short. They can be real wild, um, real off the wall, funky styles, but also real interesting. And I would suggest if you like animation at all, you have to go watch Love, Death, and Robots. It's a series produced by Tim Miller. Yeah, it's on Netflix. Tim Miller, who did the first Deadpool, um, but also unfortunately did Terminator: Dark Fate, which we can talk about the hits and misses of Terminator: Dark Fate. But this is the third season of Love, Death, and Robots. It's a great series. Uh, Seriously, take a minute, go watch it. If you wanted to watch one episode, I could point you to an episode that would blow your mind. But they're all good. I think they're all good, all worth the watch. Uh, so yeah, Love, Death, and Robots on Netflix.
All
All
right, I'm
right,
ready,
James,
but I'm gonna
what's
change the. I'm gonna
what's
change the
something you have not
game.
watched?
So I'm going to recommend two shows that I have recently watched, but I've also not watched any of the previous season, previous
Wow.
episodes or
Okay.
shows. The first one is Better Call Saul on
Mm-hmm.
FX or AMC. Sorry,
AMC.
on AMC. I did not watch the previous seasons. I believe this is the third season it's on, and I went straight to this current season's
Right.
airing, and I went on Wikipedia and read back everything that
You're
happened in the
like doing a
previous
book
seasons.
report.
And if you're a fan of Breaking Bad, I think this particular season is comparable to the original Breaking Bad
Mm-hmm.
show. Bob Odenkirk, for those of you who don't know, he's been in the game for a long time, since The Simpsons, writing for The Simpsons. Recently, he had the
Nobody.
movie
The big surprise of
Nobody.
last
Thank
year. The
you.
big surprise hot movie.
Big surprise of last year. He resurrected his character Saul Goodman, and it's played really well by him. Also, the lead actress Sehorn, not Katie Sehorn, I think Katie Sehorn, who was been robbed of Emmys in the past. According to Wikipedia, she should have been winning Golden Globes and Emmys and lost to the Bridgerton crew. Um, so right now, there's three episodes left before the curtain calls. Curtain calls for the show, and there's rumors that it'll finally. It's a prequel, but also a flash forward to Breaking Bad. So we're gonna see at some point he's gonna meet Walt and Jesse from the original show, and then in the finale we'll see what actually happens to the character post Breaking Bad. So I'm looking forward to that. And then the other show, this one's on HBO, regular HBO, is Westworld. Now,
Ah.
this show, I only watched the first season. I did not watch season 2 or 3. I heard it was trash. So I
Wikipedia.
straight fast forward to. I did the same. I caught up to Wikipedia. I've been watching this season with the actor from Breaking Bad, Jesse, who's on this show, and Tessa Thompson, for those of you who know her, as Valkyrie from Thor,
Mm-hmm.
the Thor movies. She's actually, this is the one show I actually like her character. I don't like her almost anything else, but I like her. I like her acting and her character in
Mm-hmm.
Westworld. She's hell of an actress for the. I don't know, something about her is just she got to be in the right role, and she kills this role. Um, this particular season, I think each episode's a little bit over an hour. Um, there's 4 episodes in now with a big twist, big reveal, and the twist is something that's different. It divulges from the books. It's no longer part of the original books that existed that the original movie in the '70s came out of. It's something totally different. I don't want to spoil it. I think it's very. If you're into sci-fi, you're gonna like this season a lot. Disregard the previous seasons, other than the first, other than the first season. Go straight to this season, and you will
All
enjoy
right.
it. That's what I
All
got.
right. That's a lot of recommendations for somebody to go out. A lot of different recommendations for someone to go out and try. Um, the other thing that's eating my time, I'm just gonna toss it out there. We started to watch Supernatural. I have never seen a full season of the show. I've seen bits and pieces. My oldest son was in love with this show, but we just finished season 1. So like I'm newbie to this
Dude,
whole thing. Supernatural.
I was texting Keith after our conversation. He goes, "Yeah, that's definitely his top 5 as well." He agreed. That show, The Wire, his number 5 and my 5 are a little bit different, but we both agree The Wire and Supernatural should be in our top 5. Everything else was different.
Man, I would have a tough time creating a top 5 that isn't like mostly animated move animated shows.
All right, never mind. All right, we're done. We're
All right,
done.
everybody. Thank you for joining us. I hope you found something new to watch, something new to try to watch, something you like. Come to us on social media, Twitter, Facebook, uh, anywhere, Instagram, at Heroes Peak, and you will find us and you can tell us exactly what you want to hear, what you want us to talk about. And we even take guests on. We even
Yes, hit the bell
Yes.
button,
That's right.
notification, all that
That's
stuff that
right.
Mike talks about. Hit that. Smash the like button. Smash.
That's right.
Leave a
And,
comment.
all right. So next week, I don't know what we're talking about next week. We're talking about maybe
No one
Umbrella
does.
Academy, maybe
Umbrella
maybe
Academy. Maybe Nope.
Nope.
Maybe Mo. I've seen the movie Nope. And Siri's asking me to
What's the
watch it
Chris
tomorrow
Pratt
with her because I
series?
didn't see it.
What's the Chris Pratt series?
The
Terminal.
Terminalist. Yes, that's definitely
It's
on
on.
deck. That's an Amazon Prime. And Gray Man.
Oh, the
That's
Gray
up
Man.
there
Like
too.
I watched
Gray
that.
Man.
Great. I tweeted about it. You can go see my tweet about it and see what I thought about the Gray Man. And like I said, a lot of things are on the list. If you want us to talk about something specific, let us know. Let us know. All right, everybody. You have a great week. We'll see you later. Thank you very much for joining us.
Hey, Indigo made the beat.